Hello everyone. In the previous video for chapter 12, we talked about the production function and the basic Solow model. We did address that there were some drawbacks of that original model, and that's what we're going to get into in this video, where we start to look at Solow 2. So in the Solow 2 model, we focus a lot more on technology and how technology matters to overall productivity and GDP. Remember that technology refers to any knowledge that's available for use in production. So with the Solow 2 model, we're going to focus a lot on technology, and with technology, nations are able to produce a lot more output with each input unit. Graphically, the marginal product of capital will increase, which is going to shift our entire production function upward. Now, this version of the Solow model more accurately matches the data because change in technology means that growth can continue, and a zero growth long run equilibrium is going to be avoidable. Graphically, keep in mind again that an increase in technology will shift that marginal production of capital upward, but it won't be a direct parallel shift. So with the Solow 2 equation, it changes our production function just a little bit. It takes GDP, which is going to be our function, and it's equal to A times the function of K, H, K, and L. Now, K is still physical capital, HK is still human capital, and L is still natural resources, but we are taking into account this new variable, or A, that is technology. And new technology is going to mean the output is higher for any given level of capital, and the capital, which embeds that new technology, is going to be more productive. A good example of this is that personal computers today are a lot more productive than personal computers were 10 years ago. So this new model includes that scalar or number constant, numerical constant, that allows for that technological advancement. So what does this look like graphically? Well, here we have our GDP on the y-axis and capital on the x-axis, and we had F1, which was kind of that original function. Now, this is showing an economy's production function with changes in technology. So F1 is going to be that original production function, and then F2 is going to be after we have a technological advancement. So the slope of F2 is going to be steeper at all points because this technological advancement means that we're essentially able to do more with the capital that we have at any given point than we were in the past. The slope of the production function is going to be dictated by the marginal product of capital. And in economic terms, a technological innovation increases the marginal product of each unit of capital. All this means is that the curve shifts upward, but again, that shift is not parallel, and that these increases in technology are going to result in sustainable economic growth. Now, something else to consider, we're looking at exogenous technological change. This model, which is Solow 2, assumes that changes in technology are exogenous. Well, what does that mean? Exogenous growth is just growth that is independent of any factors within the economy. And that's because technological advancements occur due to luck. There's not any rhyme or reason. And there's two main reasons for this assumption. One, a lot of times whenever we do have technological progress, it's lucky and it's random. And two, this makes the theoretical models a lot easier to solve. Developed nations essentially won the technology lottery, and economic models are developed mathematically, and this is for better or for worse, and we need to simplify some assumptions in order for these models to be solvable. So exogenous just means that it's not a result of any particular thing, it's just luck, whereas endogenous would mean that essentially somebody did something very specific that they meant to do that was related to technology. So that's not the case. It's really just mostly luck. Well, what kind of policy was implemented as a result of this Solow 2 model? Well, we know that this model emphasizes the importance of technology and capital, and what this meant was that for low-income countries to grow, they really needed access to the latest technology available. It also meant that high-income countries could really help by funding some capital investment in those poor countries. So according to Solow 1, convergence could occur due to increases in technology alone. And because of this, rich countries could help poor ones by sending them their technology. This basically led to massive amounts of funds flowing into low-income countries that didn't really make a big difference. And that's just because they didn't have anybody there to teach them how to really apply this technology and use it in the most economical way. Now, a result of this, well, we had two types of aid in the 50s and 60s. We had actual capital goods that were built with aid and aid that was given to developing countries to fund infrastructure. The results of this, some countries received billions in aid and they're no better off today than they were back in 1960. And other countries received almost no aid and they've grown pretty rapidly. So, to get a little bit more specific here, in 1964, the US, Great Britain, and the World Bank funded building of a pretty large dam in Ghana. And the purpose of this additional infrastructure was to create hydroelectric power and a lake that could provide water transportation and the development of the fishing industry. In addition, aid was sent to developing nations in order to increase capital expenditures like highways, bridges, and modern ports. Unfortunately, these efforts were pretty largely unsuccessful at promoting economic growth. And just to kind of expand on that a little bit, almost 50 years after that dam was completed in Ghana, the average income level rose by only about $300 per person. So, not a very good change. Very similar situations occurred in places like Zimbabwe, Liberia, Nicaragua, and Haiti. These countries all have similar levels of GDP per capita today as they did in 1960, despite the fact that they received billions of dollars in aid. In contrast, there were countries that received virtually no aid, and yet they've grown pretty rapidly, like Taiwan, Chile, China, and India. So, if the changes and the uses of these technologies and aid aren't really directed, it's not really going to make the difference that we would hope for. So this is where we're going to go ahead and end this video. If you have any questions, please reach out. Otherwise, you can take a look at the final video for chapter 12 on new growth theory. Thank you.